Hello everyone, my name is Saliq and I'm the founder of Eplog Properties. So if you have been following my content online, you would know that I specialize in buying, renovating and reselling villas and also buying plots and developing for my clients. Now we are doing the renovation. We have done all the demolishing and certain civil works. And today I'll explain you the civil work inside, what we have done, how we took it and how we have done it and what we have completed the product. So follow me today, and today I'm going to walk you through what we are going to do inside this villa to renovate it to resell. So it is a 4-bedroom plus maid standalone villa in Kaya cluster in Arabian Ranches 3. Now the reason we chose Emaar as a developer is we have an extensive experience in buying and renovating properties in Emaar communities. This is the large type of a 4-bedroom, which is around 4,000 square foot in built-up area, 4-bedroom plus maid and a roof terrace. Now the reason we chose this villa, after looking at around 15 options, not only in this community but multiple communities, is when we are choosing a villa, we basically study the floor plan and make sure that we as a renovation company or also as an investor, we can add maximum value to this layout in the most optimized manner. Now, if you follow my content online, you would know something that what is the parameter or a benchmark for me when I choose a property for this specific model. So the parameter in a nutshell, I explain you is that when I choose the layout, I look at only one thing. What is the maximum I can do with this layout based on what are the problems in that layout? So me as a renovation company or as an investor, I go into the property, I spot all the problems and then I try to solve them through my renovation model. And that's how I try to create value for the end user who is coming to the property and he's going to live into it. Now, when we were choosing a villa in this specific community, so it's like a holistic model. First, we choose the main community, then the cluster, and then in the cluster, we try to find the best available unit. Now, when I say about the best available unit, if you look at this unit, it is right on the park, and on the back side, the sun rises from that side. So when we were creating a model to do that, we wanted to make sure that we have two things in our property. It's like a non-negotiable for us. Number one, it must get massive natural sunlight, and also it should also offer privacy. So light should not come at the cost of privacy. So when we look at these layouts, or especially this row of layouts, we found that this is offering the maximum exposure to the sun, which means the sunlight to the property, and also privacy, because when we make the swimming pool in the garden, we want to make sure that Eastern families, Middle Eastern families, or specifically Muslim families, they can use the swimming pool with maximum privacy and without having any fear that someone or a neighbor can overlook them. The interesting thing is the second thing that we are currently, I would say, negotiating as partners is the depth of the pool. So what they have done is that they have given it a unanimous or uniform depth. However, in my opinion, it should have been tapered, deep end and then the shallow end. And my point of view to this was that a shallow end is good for kids. If there is no kids pool, then you should give a shallow end to the pool and then the deep end for the adults to use it. And my friend's take on it is that, again, it's an interesting perspective and you have to be empathetic to understand that. He believes that normally kids are going to the pool when they can swim. Only time will tell the truth that how the end user is going to perceive the depth of this pool. Yeah, his also point of view is that, okay, if I give a unanimous depth, then essentially an adult who is using the pool can swim and can basically enjoy the whole pool rather than only a part of the pool. So again, sometimes it is extremely difficult to tick all the boxes. So you have to do the trade-offs. So that's one part. Over here, we have the sun bath area, which is again, like I would say, the shallow part. So maybe if the kids are too small, they can't swim. Alternatively, potentially they can use that part until they learn swimming. And then interesting thing that we have done here is when we were designing the placing of the pool is we wanted to put the pool in a way where it leaves the utilizable space beyond the pool in the garden for barbecue area, for sitting, for enjoying in the winter, but at the same time, making sure that the pool is visually appealing when I'm sitting in the living room. This is the most important thing for me from a spatial perspective. The moment I'm sitting in the living room and I'm looking at the windows, I have the view of an overflowing pool and then view of the park. And this is, I would say, the selling shot or the selling point. So again, this is what we have been doing. We can't tick all the boxes, but inshallah, once this property will be completed, you would be amazed and it will turn out to be incredible. I hope so. So when we buy a villa, when we are doing an extension, there is a renovation. A renovation is where I take the villa, I just rip it apart to shell and core, and I just change the finishes. That's only renovation, one part of it. The next part is we call extension. Now, extension is a tricky part. What I mean by saying that's a tricky part is that a villa has two numbers in built-up area and GFA form. So we have a built-up area and we have a gross floor area. Built-up area is always bigger than gross floor area. Let me explain you in a very easy format. Gross floor area is what is actually allowed to have the indoor area, or in certain countries they call it carpet area, or also here it's known as the area which is air conditioned. So when we buy this villa, we have 3,000 something square foot, 3,100 square foot of gross floor area or a carpet area. Now from this regulator and this community, I'm only allowed to extend 10% of the GFA, which means if my GFA is 3,000 square foot, I can only buy another 300 square foot extra. And I believe the invoice that the developer has given us is something in around 160,000 to buy that extra GFA. Now, how I utilize that GFA is I try to maximize the utility of the space to improve the living experience. So in this villa, after I got the approval, what I did is I increased the size of the kitchen. Now on the ground floor, if you look at this pocket, it was an external area. So an external area is not part of a GFA because it's open. What we did is that we took the approval, we bought the extra GFA, and we are closing that space. Now that space is double height open. A double height open space is mean that either I can close it from the second floor roof and create a double height space, or I can close it from the first floor and use this space for ground floor and use the first floor space for additional utility. Could be a closet or could be bathroom or maybe a bedroom. This is what we are going to do here is that we will close this part, and now on the ground floor, if you look at this part of the villa, there was a kitchen up till here. So in our opinion, kitchen is the most important part of the villa from utility perspective, and this is a place which has been used continuously. So we want to make sure that the kitchen is of an optimum size for this size of villa, for this size of family, so that they can use the kitchen and also it's not too tight for them from operational perspective. So what we did here is we actually have increased the kitchen by almost a meter so that the kitchen will give them more appliances, more storage and more utility area. Apart from the kitchen and the living room on the ground floor, what we'll do is we are only renovating the maid's room and the guest bedroom because we didn't like the finishes that much, and also the sanitary ware. So we will remove all the sanitary ware, the bathroom, the tiles, and we will be renovating them, but we will keep the layout as it is because we have tried many models, but it seems that this is the most optimized use of space as of now in this layout. But on the living room side and kitchen, we could add more value, and that's what we're going to do on the ground floor. On first floor, there were existing 3 bedrooms. So again, based on the GFA that we have bought, we are going to add additional bedroom, and also we are going to increase the size of the master bathroom and the walk-in closet. So on first floor, the typical layout which was from the developer is we have 2 bedrooms, we have a bathroom which is being shared with them, and on the left side we have the master bedroom, and this was the part of the study. Now on the first floor, I think this is where the most argument is currently happening between me and my friends about the layout model. We'll renovate the both bedrooms, we'll keep them the same size, of course we'll add joinery and finishings, etc. We're also renovating the bathroom. However, the argument that we are currently having is we are adding a bedroom, but there is no space for the 3rd bathroom on the first floor. Now master is a separate suite, master walk-in closet, master bathroom, but in my opinion, we were trying our best to somehow add 1 more bathroom on first floor. Because if we are able to add 1 more bathroom, in my opinion, it was more value. However, if we add the bathroom, it is affecting this space for the study. Now, this is where our contradiction is currently, where my opinion to them is that we close this space, we make this bedroom ensuite, so it will become a full 5-bedroom villa, and then on the wall, because it might make the space a little bit tight, we will introduce all the reflective mirrors, which will reflect the natural light to make sure that the scale of the space looks good visually. However, it seems that we still have not reached a conclusion on that, because of course, it's not only me who will give the opinion and it will happen. We need to see the technical perspective. I need to move the air conditioning ducts. If you can see them, I have to do the MEP plumbing, the water supply, the sewerage system, have to move the windows. So and again, I would like to reiterate this point to someone who's planning to do that model. Saying something or thinking something is pretty simple. It's pretty easy. Yes, I want to do that. And in my opinion, it will create more value to the end user. But when I look at it from the financial model, that's where it comes. So I need to make sure that my utility creation model is feasible financially. Because at the end of the day, we invest to prosper. We don't invest to lose, essentially. So we want to make sure that when we're investing in this kind of model, we are creating maximum value in that cap of the budget with a little bit of buffer. We always keep, in my projects, I keep 10% buffer, whether it is a renovation or a new development. But still, we do not exceed that cap, and in that cap, we try to create value. Now, I firmly believe, and I think that everyone believes, that when it comes to a home, 3 places are the most important places: your living room, your kitchen, and your master bedroom. So again, when it comes to value creation, our extra GFA and a major chunk of our finance, it goes to this part of the house, which is the master bedroom. Because the master bedroom, it must have a wow bathroom, it must have enough closet space, because when you have a family, especially wives, there is not enough space for them ever, even if I build the whole chunk section for them, still. But the challenge that I'm facing in this villa specifically is, I was anticipating if I can get a little bit more built up a GFA from the developer. However, again, it's a rule. I cannot go and breach the rule. I can request, but if they say no, I cannot. So what we got here is we took only the permission to cover half of the terrace. Now what are we going to do is, then the terrace is, we are going to make all that area as a walk-in closet, to make sure that the homeowner who is going to live into this property has ample space of storage. The bedroom will stay as it is. Again, we'll change the finishing, we're changing the ducting, the ceiling, cove lighting, and even the bathroom. But the most important part will be walk-in closet. Now, currently we are studying what is the maximum we can do on the roof terrace. Again, we have a limitation of GFA, but we're planning to introduce a nice sitting area on the terrace, and also we will try to create a barbecue area. But as I said, we're still in studying that model, because we have still not finalized the roof terrace of that villa. So that's pretty much what we have done now. So if you want to do that model, please feel free to reach out. And also, if you want to explore the opportunities, which is also a major chunk of my business, is buying plots, developing villas, and then selling them for my clients. Because there are 2 ways to make money in real estate. You either buy and let the macro fundamentals to behave in your favor, real estate price goes up and you sell, or else you do renovation, that is on the lower stage, and the next part, which is where the actual profit is adding value by buying a land, building the right product, and then selling. And believe me, in that model, the profits are beyond 50% in certain cases. Thank you very much for your time. Make sure to subscribe. And if you have any comments, any advice for this villa or for any other option, feel free to write them down, and I try to answer all of them personally. And if you want to reach out to me, just click on the link and book a one-to-one meeting with me.